G'day guys and welcome to the show. This week it's not always about hard tracks in Tassie. There's also some really scenic drives, and this week I reckon we've done one of the best of them.
That's right, Leash. This week we're heading down through the Mount McCall track, which is one of the only four-wheel drive experiences to take you down into the Franklin Wild Rivers region.
Yep, it's the only four-wheel drive track that takes you to the Franklin River itself, but getting down there isn't for the faint-hearted.
And sadly I missed out on this trip. I was laid up pretty sick. Well, what actually happened was I got bitten by a spider.
Yeah, but Jamie, where did you get bit?
Well, let's just say I couldn't sit down properly for a while.
Poor spider.
Let's also say you should always check under the toilet seat.
Very important, check under the toilet seat, all right? All right, well, we better check it out.
Not the spider bite.
Well, I'm pretty excited about this one, guys. The Franklin River's been on my bucket list for a long time now. Always wanted to raft down it, but I'll settle for a bit of exploring around the area, I think.
Well, you've still got that kayak on your roof. You could live your bucket list item today if you wanted.
You know, I'm always keen to get the kayak off and head down some white water boards.
Yeah, my bucket list was to get down there in one piece. I'm pretty sure with my kayak, I don't think I'll do that.
So why the Franklin River? What's the big, there's so many rivers around Tassie. Why the Franklin, Borgy?
Well, this one's World Heritage listed, so you always know that's going to be good. And I think, if memory serves me right, it's probably one of the most remote sort of untouched rivers in Tasmania. So, like the rafting experience that I had my eyes set on, the minimum was a 10-day experience. So that sort of gives you some idea of the scale of whereabouts you're going to end up.
Yeah, I believe it's the only untouched river in Tasmania, or major river anyway. It's not part of the hydro scheme.
Look at you two being all smart. I'm just going to sit back here and say it's a really nice river and I can't wait to get there.
The Mount McCall track is maintained by Parks Tasmania, and they have done an amazing job. You do need to collect a key for this track, and that's from the Parks office in Strawn. You'll also have to have your vehicle inspected for weeds and mud.
The Mount McCall track so far has just been lovely. It's quite hilly, but the roads are really good. They are just a hard rock base. The Jack is just climbing it, just easy as. Not that I didn't expect anything else, you know, the Jack's just been smashing out the tracks.
It really isn't that difficult actually. It's quite a pleasant drive. It's a little bit steep, but nothing too crazy. So really, really nice, really, really beautiful. The old GQ's going really well.
Every now and then, I'll get a glimpse out to the side and you see a bit of a view pop up and then it goes away because it's a little bit covered in. But I can only imagine what we're about to find at the top of this hill climb, because it's got a reputation, let's put it that way. A good reputation.
It's not long before the trees open up and we start to see Mount McCall itself in the distance. This is going to be spectacular.
I love getting to these destinations. For me, this is what four-wheel driving's all about. You know, yes, you can go out and you can have some fun in the mud, or, you know, doing a bit of rock crawling or things like that, and that's all well and good, but when you've got a car that is capable to get you to places like this, having that destination and getting out here and doing it, there is no better feeling in the world.
One thing I'm finding really spectacular here is National Parks have done a really good job on keeping this track in good condition. They've laid rock down where it would usually be really quite slippery, and it makes it quite a nice drive. So you're not slipping and sliding, and they've had to do it too because you're up really high here, and if you went for a slip off the side, I'd hate to see what happened to you and your four-wheel drive.
So a good idea when you're heading up hills like this, if you're not quite sure what gear to do, just go first gear, low range. Yeah, she's steep. She's definitely a steep hill. Not a hard one, but definitely steep.
Well, here we go, guys. We're approaching the summit of Mount McCall, and what a cracker it is. The track's been unreal. I can't believe how easy going but yet challenging it is, if that makes any sense. But I'll tell you what, these rock formations up here, holy dooly, it's crazy.
That one right in front of us right now is something different. You don't see that every day.
Am I the only one that wants to climb that rock?
I'm going to be honest, the track for me started a little bit slow, but this has just ramped up to be a cracking view. Unreal.
This has been a cracking drive. Not difficult, really nice and simple, however, challenging enough that it wasn't boring. When you're a four-wheel driver, they are some of the best tracks. When you're up here and you're looking out at what we're looking at, oh, it is definitely worth the day trip.
I've been asked to do a video towards the camera, but I just can't get my eyes off of that view. Oh, the rugged, the silhouette of the mountains there is just incredible. And the rain, there's a few spots of rain going through there. It's just, wow, this is gonna have to be one of my favorite spots that I've ever been.
We're on our way to the Franklin River, to one of the only spots that you can access in your four-wheel drive. Well, in a way, it's a bit of a lie. You can't actually go the whole way in four-wheel drive. There's still a pretty solid walk involved. After crossing the summit to Mount McCall, the track gets a fair bit tougher. If you're driving a standard four-wheel drive, I wouldn't recommend trying to get all the way to the walk car park. It's very rocky and extremely steep.
So guys, it was awesome to get up to the summit there, but this track does head down to the Franklin River, and I have a sneaking suspicion that it's going to probably head down pretty quick.
You beat me to it. I've just found the down part, and it is going to go down nice and steep, I believe.
Wow, it is steep. This is going to be fun.
This section, as we're heading down to the Franklin River, is super steep. Now I'm in an automatic, so what I've got to watch is I don't have the engine braking of a lot of the manual vehicles. Although modern vehicles are pretty good at it these days. One of the things I try and do is make sure I keep my speed under control right from the start. Because if I let it get away on me a bit too fast, that means I've got to jump on the brakes. Good chance you lock your wheels up. And when you lock your wheels up, you've got no control. That's never a good thing. The other thing I make sure I'm doing is keep the thumbs outside of the steering wheel, because this rocky terrain, especially going downhill, if you slide into a rut or something, you're not going to have much chance to really think what's going on. There's a good chance your thumbs can get stuck and get knocked as the wheel spins really fast.
Alrighty guys, so when you're heading down some really steep stuff, I say it all the time, first gear low range, take it slow. It is so simple, but it is the first step. Tap your brakes, don't hold your brakes, that's the second one. Hugely important, because you don't want to wear out those brakes and you don't want them getting hot. And if there is a rut, most of the time, not all the time, but most of the time, try and put your wheels into the rut like I am now. Reason being is, it means the car can't actually move, it can't go anywhere because it's stuck in that rut. Diff clearance is a big thing, so know where your diff is, normally one side or the other, and make sure that when you're coming through those ruts that you're aware as to where your dip will be, because the last thing you want to do is go into a rut and then actually dip out.
Look, it is quite steep here. This is definitely one of the more challenging parts of this track here. The first real obstacle that we've kind of come up across. But it's no issue for the Jack. She just cruises down. You just take it nice and slowly. Now, when doing downhill tracks, it's really important to have brakes. Now, to keep your brakes, you don't hold them on the whole time. When I'm in the trucks, I often go 4 seconds on, 4 seconds off, 4 seconds on, 4 seconds off, that sort of a thing, just to keep those brakes nice and cool.
You'll know when you've reached the bottom as the track simply just stops. Now, there isn't much room to turn around either, which is why the track is not recommended for camper trailers and why we left ours back at camp with Jamie today.
Now, it's a very steep walk down to the river, so you've got to make sure that you've got the right footwear and plenty of time to navigate it safely.
This walk, or probably more of a climb, must only be attempted if you are in good physical health. We would suggest that you carry some water for each person and do not attempt it if it is heavily raining.
Oh, I am not looking forward to walking up this.
Oh, well, here it is, finally. There are not many spots in the world that you can look over a river like this that has been completely untouched by human hands. That means no water for agriculture, mining, humans, anything like that. So it is well worth the trip here. If you're fit and healthy and you can manage that hill, make sure you get down here for a look.
Do you want to have an epic adventure in Tasmania just like the Offroad Adventure Show crew? Well, you can with this year's competition. Win yourself an Overlander GTS from the team at Hardcore Campers, valued at over 38 grand. Explore the toughest tracks, camp in comfort, or cook up a storm for the family in this ripper of an off-road camper. Plus, that's not all. There are also heaps of other cool prizes to be won from our show partners. To enter, simply collect the code word from each episode and head to the website. Get a pen, here's this week's code word.
Queenstown has so much to offer, and if you're in the region just for a little while, you've got to go and check out some of the mines, the hue and pine. There's plenty of it to see and do there, and get on the old railway. Well, we took it a little step further and went whitewater rafting, and what a ball we had. You've got to check this out.
It's all happening here today. We're going rafting. Looking forward to it.
Our adventure begins with gearing up and getting a bit of a safety briefing. But let's face it, we all just want to get in that water.
So with King River Rafting, the weather has turned it on for us and we're about to jump into the river and get nice and warm. Let's see how it goes.
So when you're going down the river in the raft, you really don't know what to expect. You've got a little bit of a flow going on, then all of a sudden you hear the rapids coming up, and then it's just game on. You're flowing through these rapids, you're just hanging on for dear life, and you really got to put a lot of faith in the guide behind you to make sure he's steering the boat in the right direction. It was exhilarating.
Coming down the first rapid, I completely forget my fears and start having an absolute ball. The adrenaline's going through me. It feels like I'm in a rodeo or something. It was awesome.
River is one of Tasmania's best whitewater rivers, and you get to experience over 7 kilometres of its twists and turns. It's a huge adrenaline rush, that's for sure.
I've learned 2 things today. Number 1, don't let the cold fool you. Actually not so bad when you're rafting in Tasmania. And 2, this is by far one of the best ways to see the Tasmania as well.
See the Tasmania.
See the Tasmania.
The Tasmania.
So guys, we've just come downstream to this beautiful little waterfall. It's tucked away on the left-hand side. I reckon this is pretty cool. You don't get this sort of stuff just anywhere. The Tasmania is stunning.
I was dubious about doing this because everyone knows I hate the cold, especially being wet in the cold. This is so much fun. Definitely gives me that kick of adrenaline that I love.
Speaking of adrenaline, check out that next rapid.
We've come to a little bit of a dangerous, unpassable bit of the river. There's what we call a stopper down there, which is a rock or a log or something like that, and it stops you from going anywhere. Now they used to do this on the raft, but the raft kept flipping. So I'm, for one, quite glad we're not going down there.
Jess, where's your sense of adventure? Come on.
There's a sense of adventure and then there's self-preservation.
Never heard of that.
Our guide starts by lowering the rafts down one by one, using the ropes that they have inside of the wall.
Alright, so we've jumped back in the boat. Now, we've got our guide here. He's just basically letting us down very slowly. And hopefully that's going to take us down to the next set of rocks. And then I believe we've got to get back out again. The boat's going to go down and then we jump back in again. Not really sure, but it's all a bit exciting.
We're stuck on a rock. That's why we were bouncing like idiots.
Time to see the rafts head down and see what Jamie would have been in for if he had stayed on board. Wow, I think we made the right choice. Time now for a little hike up and around the rocks. Hiking is much harder in a wetsuit and a life vest.
Alrighty guys, so we've just come through the cliff face. We've got our rafts here waiting for us. They've come through the rapid. And up on the hill, I don't know if you can see that steam there, that is actually our train waiting for us. How cool is that? How awesome to get all of this in one day. I think this classifies as one of the best days we've had down in Tassie.
It's incredible. The remoteness, the scenery. I've had enough for today though.
Oh, how exciting was that? I mean, I haven't done it before, but what an adventure. And now we're going on a steam train back. And I believe we're going to get a feed on that. Can't wait for it. But I'm going to go and get changed. I'm freezing.
The West Coast Wilderness Railway is an amazing day out, even without the rafting thrown in. The steam train is the only operating ABT rack and pinion railway in the Southern Hemisphere. It is the perfect way to warm up after an action-filled morning on the river. There's even a chance to have a look over the engine itself at Rinadina while the crew tops up on the water. Oh, and of course there's a barista here that also makes coffee.
How good is this? This would have to be the warmest place, don't you reckon, Jess?
Especially after we've been whitewater rafting, this is where I want to be right now.
I want to go the rest of the way on this like this. Check this out, eh?
Today has definitely been a day full of surprises. I was surprised to really be enjoying the whitewater rafting, and now we're on a train. This really cool old steam train. We're getting served cheese and crackers. It's just been the best experience. Anyway, they're calling us back on the train now, so I better go.
The sign of a good, action-packed day is a tired crew. Thanks, King River Rafting. That was a job well done. After a good day in the raft, it's time to head southeast from Queenstown towards Hobart and the east coast. We're turning off before Tassie's capital though and heading towards Maydena via the Florentine Valley track.
So I've just turned onto the dirt road, and this is where the fun starts. One good habit that I've got myself into is to readjust my camper trailer brakes every time I hit the dirt road, just from the inside on the control knob there. The reason I do that is because dirt obviously has less traction than on tar. So your camper trailer brakes can tend to lock up a lot easier and a lot quicker. So if you readjust them, as soon as you hit the dirt, that way they're ready to go for when you really need them.
You're driving through here and some of these trees are just humongous, absolutely huge.
We've only just come into the Florentine Valley Forest Trail here, and the scenery is already starting to change. It started off as just normal forestry, it's starting to already look a little bit rainforesty. It's amazing how many different environments there are in such a small space in Tasmania. We're heading for a place called Growling Swallow, which sounds like something out of Harry Potter, but apparently it is one of the largest cave systems in Tasmania. So I'm really interested to check that one out.
When you're travelling through the forestry like we are today, there's one thing that you need to keep an eye out for. What I'm talking about is logging trucks. So make sure that you've got a radio on scan. That sometimes can help if you're in the area where they might be loading up. And obviously, use the two eyes you have. Keep an eye out, drive to the conditions, drive to the left-hand side, especially on those crests. Don't go sort of off to the right-hand side because you don't want to come over those. The next thing you see is the front of a truck.
To visit Growling Swallow, you'll need to pick up a key from Parks in advance to unlock the gate. We are leaving the campers along with the 80 and the GQ here, as there isn't room to turn everybody around at the other end. This means it's carpool time.
The old land is pretty comfortable. I feel like I'm sitting in a sardine can with some off tomatoes or sardines with it.
It doesn't smell it, yeah?
Well, that's what you think.
So here's a little tip for you. All of these walks around here, or most of them, have got logbooks here. It's a good idea to fill them out, because if something goes wrong, rescuers can actually check this out, know how many people's in there, contact numbers, all that sort of thing. Makes life a hell of a lot easier for them. Makes things a lot safer for you too. Just make sure they can read my handwriting. Poor buggers.
walk is stunning. It's a full-blown rainforest, complete with trees that would be hundreds, if not thousands of years old. Wow.
So this is the Growling Swallow Caves. The water comes all the way through here, goes 200 metres down into the cave, on for about another 20 kilometres and ends up at Junee Caves. And we're about to pop in and have a closer look. This is going to be fun.
It's a bit of a climb down into the cave's mouth, and you'll need to be careful as it's very slippery.
This is a lot more than what we bargained for today, and I'm not complaining. This is awesome. Really do have to watch where you put your feet.
Depending on the water level and flow, you can explore a fair way down into the cave. Some of us want to go that little bit further.
We could go back up and get some recovery gear and we could pick something up here.
Not your bloody zip lines again.
It'd work! It'd work!
This spot is absolutely incredible. Now, it is flowing pretty fast today, and without the right caving gear, we're going to call it quits at this spot. But I can tell you what, I'm going to be back with some gear to check out that cave, because this is amazing.
Now it's time for us to get back to the four-wheel drives. Well, as soon as Jess stops monkeying around.
Every single time. Jess, what are you doing? Are you in your own habitat? Look, it's a ringer! It's a ringer! Oh, no way! Oh, what are you doing? That's what we're going to deal with.
And that's why I'm here.
Right, well now we're back on the track and we're heading to Junee Cave. Now that's the other end of Growling Swallow where we've just come from. Yeah, it's going to be pretty cool to actually see the other side of this. Looking forward to it.
The walk into Junee Cave is similar distance to Growling Swallow. It will take you around half an hour to walk in, so give yourself at least an hour and a half for a return trip. It is a beautiful part of the world with crystal clear water and just the sounds of nature.
I think that someone has walked from that other side 20 k's video. Yes. We're standing here just above the Junee River at the other entrance to the cave we looked at. 30 kilometres between these two caves.
Yeah, absolutely incredible. The other end was Growling Swallow. Don't know what the name come from, but I guess there's something. But you know what interests me, Jess, is the Aboriginal culture throughout the cave is still there in stencils, bones, remains, and it's still all intact in there.
What a pristine environment though, that water is so clear.
I know, it's amazing. And to actually walk along and see the fish in there, that was pretty cool, wasn't it?
Well, solar panels are being used left, right and centre these days. Now I've got a couple on the four-wheel drive, a few on the camper trailer, and I also like to use the portable options like these as well. While I'm doing that, I thought I'd show you a couple of tips. Now the first tip is to make sure your solar panels are in direct sunlight. So they will work just laid out flat like this. But if you can, pop them up to actually face the sun itself. Now if you're around at camp, don't be afraid every hour or so to actually realign them and put them in direct sunlight as you go. I'll tell you what, it makes a massive difference at the end of the day. Well, I know I said to put it in direct sunlight, but most people think if you just pop it out, a little bit of shade won't hurt it. But I'll show you how much of a difference it makes when I put my hand just over the corner here. Have a look at that. And the final tip is to make sure you keep your solar panels nice and clean. So dirt and dust on top can actually block how much sunlight gets through to the solar cells and affects how efficient they actually are. So give them a wipe down, it's down like that. And I'll tell you what, these couple of tips can go a long way into making sure you get the most out of your solar panels.
All right guys, so it looks like we've got another challenge here and we're obviously going to be on these.
On the railway.
Yes, we are racing. It's boys versus girls.
Oh, right.
Winners have already been announced.
The rules are pretty simple. We've got a 2-kilometre race on these, boys versus girls, and it's timed. So because we're on the same track, you guys are getting a 30-second head start, then we'll follow and we'll see how big the gap is.
That makes sense.
So by the time you're past, we'll be on your behind.
Oh, I can't think of a better challenge. My legs are already aching.
Well, you know, like when I walked over, I saw this quad sitting in the back, and I reckon that's what I'd be on. But now I've sort of got it positioned. I think they've sat it behind the girls so they can give her a push to keep up with us.
I think we need to check over these carts and make sure we're not getting stitched up here.
I think we are.
I reckon we go to purple one, Lee.
Yeah, I reckon purple's our thing.
Oh, yeah, well, I sort of gathered that,
Well,
you know?
we'll get in the front one because that's where we're going to be, up the front in the winning position.
We're on the same track, you weirdo.
All right, let's do it. Right, ready, go. Go. No, we've got to wait for the...
Hey, you reckon I should tell them the handbrake's on? Don't worry about that. We got this.
Oh, I feel like you having long legs is a really good advantage for me.
Yeah, I know. Why are they right behind us?
They're going fast.
They can't be.
They've got a better cart than us.
Well, I think it's catch.
No, Jamie. Us girls just have tougher legs than you boys. Come on, Jess, let's bring this home for the ladies.
My legs are slipping.
Oh, my legs. They're on fire.
Well, it's definitely not 30 seconds in it.
All right, we smashed you.
Done.
I don't think so, Jamie. That was definitely a win to us girls. All that time in the gym, Jess, it all paid off. At the end of the track, we get to have a bit of a look at how they did it in the old days. Check out that chain-driven drive line. Pretty sure that's what's still running under Jamie's Landy. And then look at those brakes. Wow! Medina is a town swimming in rich history. From timber to Tassie tigers, it has it all. Our home for the next few nights is the left of field Caravan Park in Mount Field. And boy does this place have some character. Big green grassy sites with plenty of room to spread out. Jess has volunteered for dinner duty tonight and the rest of us have decided to try our hand at some of the local golf.
So we're out playing a bit of golf. Smelt the smoke, campfire. Turns out there's a bath here as well.
Around a funny little nook.
I reckon game of golf, then I'm gonna have a bath. I'll smell.
Well, you can have your bath first.
If you are planning to come down to this area just to the southwest of Hobart, make sure you spend a few nights at this place. You won't regret it. It was definitely one of our favourite spots.
Hey guys, we're here at Medina Bike Park with Reese here. Reese, tell me a little bit about this place.
So we've been open for about 2 years now, coming this Australia Day in January. Little old logging town that's now been a bit rejuvenated and become a mountain bike town. We just had the Gravity Enduro National Championships, so we had a little bit over 600 people in the park hanging out, racing all weekend. I mean, that's one extreme, right? National Championship racing with, Australia has some of the best races in the world, so that's pretty high level, but a little bit more what we'll show you guys today will be that sort of adventure side of it, where you can just go for a ride in the woods and experience the wilderness, especially in a place like Tasmania where there's so much to offer and so many different things to see.
I'm feeling pretty good about today. I think I'm probably going to hurt myself, but I'm pretty happy to do it.
We load up all the bikes at the base and ride the bus to the top of the mountain.
It's been a while since I've ridden a bike, but I've heard it's like riding a bike, so we'll see how it goes.
It'll be just like riding a bike, Jess.
It's going to go down here, a little bit of a pinch to start with, and that's about a K of easy pedaling to the trailhead.
This track attracts world-class athletes. It's got more tracks on it than any other mountain bike park in Australia, so it was amazing that we could go down the same ones as the Australian champion. I can imagine he goes a little bit faster or a little bit more stylish than us.
So as I'm finding my way down the hill, I'm starting to get a little bit more confident. I can hear Jamie in the background. I'm starting to go a bit faster. I'm pushing a bit harder into the corners, and I hit this little turn. And as I'm hitting this little turn, I feel the back brakes lock up, and I giggle to myself. The next turn, I'll push that a little bit too hard. Oh, I'm down. And next minute I know, it's all over. Man down, man down. Don't worry, I got it. If I don't crash once, you're not pushing hard enough. That's my motto. Oh, got my shoulder. Oh, I've got a graze. Oh, you got a wall wound. I've got a wall wound. Look at that.
This is right on us.
Well, that was a heck of a lot of fun. There was two things I wasn't expecting. One was just how good the scenery was, and two, just how out of puff I was about to get. Good thing is, they've got beer, they've got pizza, and they've got burritos. What a day.
Unfortunately, that's all we have time for this week. I would love to get back to Medina though. I've already picked my bike out.
Oh, me too. I'll tell you what, I got such a rush out of that, especially when I fell off.
Yeah, well, let's just say that this is one extreme sport that I think I might skip, strap a board to my feet and send me off a cliff any day, and I'm going to stick to the snowboarding, not that one.
Oh, Alicia, you done all right. It wasn't that bad. I mean, that's one of the hardest tracks in the world.
Yeah, it definitely was a hard one. Pretty big challenge.
Well, if you want to see how our cameraman went down the track, jump over to our socials and tune in next week to check out the rest of our adventures on the east coast of Tassie.
Next week on the show, our team hit up some great tracks on the east coast of Tassie. Starting off with a local favourite, the Jeffreys track.
Woo!
There's plenty of great scenery, some hidden convict ruins, a new off-road challenge with a twist, and Jamie might be onto his first Tassie fish.
Taking me under the reef, I think. Oh, no, I've got him.
Tune in next week for more off-road adventure.
Fighter.
So there you go, guys. We've made it to the summit, and what an amazing drive. I'm going to do that again because I always say amazing.
This is one of the world's last untouched rivers. It is well worth the walk down here. If you're fit and healthy, make sure you get down here.
Hey, it's not worth it. It's too hard.
Yeah, that's because you're not fit and healthy, mate.
I'm rafting it next time.
Wow, bing, bam, 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 bam. You make my heart sing, you make everything. Wow, bang.